as I said, I'll just change the name of my stream title. So, Tinkering with a BP lesson. There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm just tightening up my blueprints lesson that I'm going to be working on. So for this I will need Unreal Engine. There we are. And I'm going to need a reference over here as well. So I want to go into my UTub data. And I don't know, is it? And I think this could be it.
Hey there.
Because I have to look at stuff as well. Right, so I am going to make my library. I've got so much stuff here, so let's delete stuff. There we go, so this is how I get started. I've got to delete all my stuff that I've got sitting in here until I'm left with just my basic projects. Okay, next, what I want to do is I want to launch okay, so I have got Unreal Engine starting up, and I've got my research material, and I've got my plan for my class tomorrow. I just need to get this straight inside my head, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. The thing is, some of the concepts, when it comes to blueprints and things like that, you kind of look at them and you understand them, and you know how to teach them, or you know how to use them in a project, but at the same time, you're like, does that work? So it's best to go over it a couple of times just to make sure. Now I'm going to be using the first person template this time, so the tennis ball gun, and I'm going to call this FPS BP. Everything is going to stay as it is, so no ray tracing. And if you're following along, come join me. Okay, so setting up the basic template does not take very long. The reason I use the basic template wherever possible, even if I'm like helping ArchViz people and stuff like that, is because it's extremely light. It takes only a couple of minutes to make the project, and I don't have to worry about thousands and thousands of assets being discovered or shaders being compiled. Okay, so this gives us a good place to start, and if I just click play, we've got tennis ball dude. Great. Now what I want to do first of all is go into my blueprints over here, first person character, and because this is a game, not a game character, this is for interaction, I'm stripping out the jump, the shoot, and if I go to my viewport, I'm going to select the guns, the sphere, and this VR gun, okay, and I'm changing everything on the scales for these to 0. So now they should hopefully be gone. I said hopefully because that gun's still there for some reason. I don't think I've got the gun. Let me just check there. I didn't get the gun either. So I need that. Yeah, that should do it. Hopefully if I change these now, that should change them all to 0. Yep, they're gone. Okay, everything else can be kept the same. Now, in my event graph, what I want to do is I want to make a new area down here that I'm going to do some stuff. Okay, and in this I want a key press. So our key press in this instance is going to be the letter E, E key. Now when I right clicked and typed in E key, it didn't find us E key straight away, so we've got to go here till we get to the keyboard events, and if I come down here until I see the letter E, there we go. Although I might use the letter F actually. I think I'll use the letter F. There we are. So here's our letter F. And when it's pressed, we want it to do something. So what I wanted to do is I want to do a line trace by channel. Here we go, line trace by channel. And you'll see we get lots and lots and lots of lovely options in there. Okay, so now we need to calculate the start and the end. So let's go to my notes again. Okay, so we're going to use the first person camera because we've already got one, and that will make sense then if I just get location. Okay, so if I pull out get location, and I think I need get world location. Yes, there we are. I'm going to do this a few times and delete it and come back to it just to make sure that this is firmly locked in the old matter. Okay, and then what I can do is I'm going to output that into my start. Okay, so here we go. Now what I can do is I can then minutes. Going over my stuff again. I want to get the forward vector, so I want to know where it's pointing. There we are, so there's our forward vector, but I can't just have the forward vector on its own, I need to multiply it by an amount, so this is how far we're going to look. So for this, not a multigate, I'm going to use a multiply, so vector multiplied by a vector. Actually no, by float, because I can just modify all three simultaneously. So there we are, and in here I can put a distance field of 400, and then I'll output this into our end like so, and then I can do our draw debug as a persistent. Compile, save. Right, now let's have a look and see if that's working. Helps if I press the right button, doesn't it? Okay, so we can see that we're sending off calls to things. Now, is the call it's sending off in the right location? It doesn't appear to be, because it's on the floor. Let me have a look. Because it's important that, you know, we get this right. So let's go to our viewport. This is our first person camera. So in our event script, our first person camera, we're getting its world location. And then we're getting a forward vector based on which direction the camera is looking at. And the trace channel is, yep, it's set to visibility. Okay, well that seems okay. Oh right, hang on a second. I should probably, never mind, I'm not calculating its world location for the end here properly. So what I need to do is I need to add these two vector outputs together. So if I just bring these over here and then come down and add a vector to a vector. Okay, so there to there. Just bring this back, and then I want to put that into there, compile and save. And this should give us, in theory, the correct amount. Yeah, it should. Okay, let's have a look. So, against the grey wall, play. Aha, that's much better. Now I'm getting accurate line traces, look. with a range of 400, so when it doesn't touch the wall it lets you know. See? Much more accurate. That's much more what I needed. Thank heavens for that. Okay, so I've got this basic kind of pointing at stuff thing going on. So what am I going to do with that? Let's have a look. Well, I'm going to have some coffee. I'm sorry, could we stop playing on the floor when I'm trying to do stuff? You and the cat. Ooh. Oh, God, I love coffee. Right, so now what I wanted to do is I want to basically look at what it's hitting and use those hits to tell it we want to do something. So, let's have a look. Just reading through my notes. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to make a branch from here. Okay, so this is our true false. Then out of my, let me see, I need to take it out of here and break it. So I just put break hit result. You'll see we get this nice big thing here. Okay, so this gives us the information from the hit. And then let me see, we can drag out our hit actor and we can cast. And cast basically saying who we hit. So if we hit our door blueprint, cast to the door. Just looking at this and having a think. I'm not going to use casts. This is why I do these things, and I put them on Twitch so that I have to do them as well. Okay, I'm going to make a blueprint interface. So, this is the point where I could have done with my pen. Ooh. I've lost my little notebook, so I could probably do with that as well. Nonetheless, none need this. Where is it? No, I've lost my notebook. Flipping brilliant. I'll just use this then. No, I'll not use that because that's expensive paper. And this is cardboard. No, I'll use this instead. So, in my notes, okay, so, well, my pen's dead. Never mind, I'll just remember what I'm doing on this one. Okay, so if I go down to here and go into my assets, create a new folder called assets. Go in here and I'm going to call it blueprints. Okay, because an interface is a blueprint. So if I come down to my blueprints and I want a blueprint interface, There we go, and I'm going to call this BP action interface. Okay, and try and remember what it's called, that way I'm not getting confused. Right, now I'm going to call this blueprint interface. Let's see if I can open that up. Call it interaction. And that's that done. Right. Okay. I hate it when I'm going over concepts like this, because usually I used to use the cast tube, but this is a way more efficient way of doing it. So, there we go. I can now put BP interaction blueprint here, with its target being the hit actor. I can set that to true. So that's our interface now linking in. So I don't need any of the other parts in there. So as long as it's true, it'll just basically do the interact. So what now? We've got our common functions set up. I'll make sure there's nothing else I need to add to this. I mean, that is pretty much the interaction usability there. Right. Okay, so I've built my interaction event, and what I want to do now is I want to be able to come off that and do things. So for this I need blueprints, and I'll make myself a simple blueprint light. So if I go into my content, assets, blueprints, right click, and I'm going to make a blueprint class, and it's going to be an actor. BP lighting system, and I'll open that up, and I'm not going to put anything complicated in here, so I will have a cube, and I'm just going to scale this down, so I'll just use my scaling tools. There we are. Then I want a cylinder on top of this. Once I have this more or less in the right position, there we are. So I'm going to make a cylinder on top of this. Here's a cylinder, drag it on, and it'll just put it in the default place, because it's put it, if you look, as a child of the cube. So if I just change the scaling on this instead to something more reasonable. Okay, so that'll give us this nice tall light here, and then I'm going to duplicate it. Whoops, so I'll just duplicate my cylinder. And change this to 1. Okay, and then I want to get myself a light, so I'm going to go over to here to light, spotlight, drag it in, pop it there, and my spotlight's almost certainly in the wrong place. Yes, it is. So just adjust that, and I'm going to change it. Let me have a quick look. Okay, that all looks fine. So spotlight. Doopy 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 doop. Groovy. Okay, so with our spotlight set up the way it should be and everything like that, now I need to go to my class settings, and I'm going to add. Let me see. Won't let me add it that way. Let's check and do this right. Probably need to save this as well. Hang on. Compile, save, event graph. Let's get rid of these. There we go. And don't need class defaults, need class settings. Add an interface. And we want BP action interface here. Compile and save. Okay, so now this means that I can bring in my interface if I just look for it in a minute. No, my interface was called interaction. So interaction, and I'm calling a function or an event. And which one should it be? Yep. Right click, interact, event, interaction, there it is. And here we can see it is an interface event. I'm going to do a print just to let us know. Print string. This is the light. Okay, and compile and save. Great, so close major tab. And I'm going to put my light in my scene. There we go, and click play. So now if I do that, this is the light. If I click on anything else it won't, but this is the light. Perfect, so that means I can interact now with this light. So let's make some interaction happen. So if I pull back and go into my BP lighting system, and inside of my BP lighting system, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag off my spotlight here, and what I can do is I can just use a flip-flop even. I think I'll just use a branch though. Branch. Oh, hang on, I've got to set it out from this. Branch. Now then, what I want to do is I want to change a condition on here, so variable light underscore on, and I'm going to compile it and save it, and for the moment the light is on. Okay, so I'll just pull this in, get light on, I'll feed the output of that into the conditions box. Right, so if the light on is true, then when we interface with this actor we're going to turn it off. So over here set light on, and I'm going to duplicate that twice. So if it's true, I don't want it true anymore, and if it isn't true, I do want it true. Okay, so set on, set off. Now what we can do is, if I just get my spotlight and put is visible, okay, we can also check if it's visible this way. Now what I want to do is I want to set my hidden. Set visibility, here we go. I'm going to use two of these. Control W, Control W. And this is how we start getting some really basic interactivity going, but doing stuff in a really cool way as well. So the spotlight is output to both of these, and then the new visibility comes from here. So let me see, true we turn it off, false we turn it on, and then we can propagate the new visibility into here. Okay, so now if I just close this off, put a comment around it, lighting control system, compile, save, drop back into my viewport, and everything seems okay. There we go. Compile it again, compile, save. Okay, so now if I hit play, not sure how well we'll be able to see this, but the light is going on and off when we have our functionality. Woohoo! Okay then, so that was a nice tight kind of action system that we put into place there. So I'm going to save and stop streaming, and I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas.